everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen, back with another edition of Believe in Colts. And today we are going to discuss the Indianapolis Colts Training Camp schedule drop. And there are some big changes, some shocking changes for a lot of you that you may not expect, especially if you're going on weekends. All right. So, but before I get into that, I want to remind everybody that BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs this season, from baseball, golf, soccer, right up to the top fights in UFC and MMA and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here. Now, what's interesting about the Indianapolis Colts is their training camp has always been free. Now, granted, there was always parking, especially, out there at Grand Park, usually like $5 for parking. So if you go, remember, there was always parking fee down in Westfield, but it's well worth it. I mean, it was a lot of activities to do, especially with the kids, people to see, people to meet, cheerleaders, all sorts of stuff, not to mention getting in on the stands, kind of almost like a game feel, like a high school game feel, right? You got the bleachers and hanging out with some of your friends, families, other, Colts fans and stuff that you don't even know. You get to meet new people. And not just from across the city, the state, but the country. I've seen people from, in other countries show up that are Colts fans during training camp. I've met them, and it was fun to meet people like that. It's a great atmosphere. However, as I said, there are some changes this year. The biggest change is the fact that all the weekend games, practices are now $5 tickets. And it's not just the weekend, but as you know, the Indianapolis Colts every year have at least one team in which they have a joint practice. This year they have two. Now, the other team, they'll be hosting one and then going to another for training camp. Now, they will be going to the Bengals for that joint practice. So obviously we won't see that. That'll be gone. That'll be the end of their training camp. The end of fans' training camp where they can go watch. They will be hosting the Arizona Cardinals. And that's a weekday, right? 2 weekdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays. Those are also $5 a piece. So just remember, not only is there a $5 ticket for parking, but there's now $5 for weekend and joint practice just to get in. And that's not like a carload. That's per person. So just remember that before you take off and go, before obviously you purchase your tickets beforehand and then show it digitally. Let's talk about the schedule, actually. So the Indianapolis Colts training camp starts July 25th on a Thursday morning, 9 a.m. The Colt City, the place where the whole enchilada holds up, where you got, vendors and Colt City and all of that. That's open from 9 to noon. And of course, the practice is only an hour, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Now, that makes sense. It's also going to be, shorts, there's going to be no pads on. There's no doubt about that. Those tickets are free. As I said, it is a Thursday. So I wouldn't worry too much. This is a very short, honestly, looking at training camp schedule, it seems like there's less in this than what I'm used to. This is the camp kickoff, so we'll see how things work out, but I will probably be there on Thursday. Remember, if you ever see me out there, feel free, yell, hey, even if I'm down on the field videotaping the action. Don't be afraid to yell my name out, say hi. Always love to meet all of you who are out here and out there. So the next date after the Thursday, the 25th, is Saturday, the 27th. Again, that's a $5 ticket because it is on a weekend day. 8 o'clock in the morning until noon, 3 hours. Again, this is a 4-hour one rather than 3 like it was on Thursday. And it's an hour and 15 minutes. It's a 15-minute ramp up on that Saturday. The theme is back together weekend. I'm not 100%. You just, finally everybody's back together weekend. That's going to be the Saturdays and Sundays. Like I said, that's a $5 ticket. The next day is Sunday, the 28th. And that is an afternoon, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., another 4-hour day. And this practice time, again, ramped up a little bit more from 4 until 5:30. So as you see, the practice times goes from an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half. They're kind of ramping it up for the guys. I understand being such a tight window and just slowly giving them an extra 15 minutes every day for practice. You don't want to see guys get hurt. Too many players get hurt coming in. Their bodies aren't limber. They're not up to football shape. They go out there. They go into the full training mode, and something gives or tears or breaks or whatever because their body's not ready. So those first 3 days is just the players really getting their bodies used to getting back into football shape and not getting themselves hurt again. But that is a nice little starting weekend. The next day for practice is Tuesday, July 30th. And again, it's a weekday, so those are free tickets. 9 o'clock in the morning until noon. Practice is an hour and 15 minutes from 10 a.m. to 11:15. The next day after that is Wednesday, July 31st, last day of the month. Another 9 to noon, 10 a.m. to 11:30. Now, you might ask, why did it drop to a hour and 15 minutes on Tuesday? Well, that probably means it's the first day of full pads, right? You got the 3 days kind of ramping up, getting in the shells, things of that nature. And then you put full pads on, and that's a new animal. And you're going to have the full contact and all of that. So you're going to drop that first practice back a little bit, 15 minutes, kind of save a little wear and tear, let their bodies get used to it. Then you get the hour and a half practice on the Wednesday following. Friday, August 2nd, 8 a.m. until noon. Practice is 9 a.m. until 10:45. That's an hour and 45 minutes. The theme on that day is Family Day, and it is a free ticket because it's not a Saturday or Sunday. So you just, get online, go to colts.com/event/training camp/schedule and claim your free tickets there. Friday is usually, obviously, why you think, well, Friday's a weekend, but it's really not for people who work Monday to Friday, right? And you got to remember it is, in the morning, so people still at work. But that following that next Sunday, which is August 4th, is a $5 ticket, right? Because it's a Sunday and it's an afternoon, 2 to 4, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Practice is an hour and a half, 4 p.m. to 5:30. And the theme is Give Back Sunday. So again, you want to claim your tickets ahead of time, make sure you go to the Colts.com and Again, for that day specifically, it's $5. Wonder if you'll be there. The next day on the list is Monday, August 5th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Practice is 2 to 3:30. Back to school. Again, since it's a Monday, it's free tickets. Back to school. I don't know. A lot of kids should be on August 5th. Are they in school during that day, or is that just getting ready for going back to school? I'm not 100% sure on that. All my kids are now out of school. And this is, around Indianapolis. I'm north of Indianapolis in a different county, so school systems are slightly different where I'm at. The next day on the list is Wednesday, August 7th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Practice is 9 a.m. to 10:30, and that is our salute to service day. Veterans always welcome, but on this specific day, we're saluting the service members for, the United States. So the next day after that is Friday, August 9th. Again, another free ticket. Friday, it's a weekday. 9 a.m. till noon. 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Kicking the Stigma. As you know, Kicking the Stigma has been a big thing for the Indianapolis Colts over the last few years, actually. A lot of shirts and a lot of fundraising getting into, mental health. So that's what this day specifically will be focused on. Now, the last 2 days, there is no more weekends. There's only 2 days left. They're both weekdays. Wednesday, August 14th is a ticket day, $5, 4 p.m. until 8 p.m. Reason why? Well, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., that's generally after work for most people after their first shift. Practice is for 2 hours. It's a joint practice with the first joint practice with the Arizona Cardinals. It is also Fan Appreciation Day. Keep an eye out. You'll probably get some, mini footballs or something like that thrown your way. I have a few around here somewhere. We'll see if I can't find them in a little bit. The next day and final day of the training camp, Thursday, August 15th, 4 to 8 p.m. Practice is 6 p.m. to 7:20, so a little shorter than the 2 hours that was the day before. It's called Thirsty Thursday. It's also $5 due to the time frame and the fact that, it's a joint practice. Joint practice is awesome. Joint practice, the Colts get so much information out of joint practice. Excuse me. So much information out of joint practice because, practicing against yourself is one thing. Or practicing against another team that have different styles, different players, different, different everything. All right. It's always much, much better. And look, this is an NFC opponent. We don't see them but once every 4 years. And so there's no real animosity. I don't expect like high tension, high fights like what we see a lot when we go up against, say, Chicago or the Bengals, which will happen after that, right? Or the Browns. We've had some high tension practices with some, scuffles and stuff. I don't foresee a lot of scuffles against the Arizona Cardinals. What I do expect is a lot of high-flying action. I mean, you got Kyler Murray, who is definitely known as a scrambling quarterback, little dude running around all over the field. You got Anthony Richardson, who's a big dude who runs all over the field and can throw the ball as well. This will be a fun time. Those 2 days, joint practices, I think a lot of people are excited to be able to go see those, even though they're weekdays. Colts did a good job of scheduling those late not so late. The Colt City is only open till 8 p.m. on those days, but they're late enough to where day shifters could quite well get in there. And since the practices themselves don't start till 6, right? Yes, City opens up at 4 p.m., but the practices actually don't start till 6 p.m. It's plenty of time for guys to get in there. And you, me, whoever, as long as you don't work second shift, get in there and watch the games, even on a weekday. So I'm excited about this upcoming training camp. There's a lot of question marks that could be answered. I know, obviously, every year you have training camp standouts that will succeed, and then you have training camp standouts that just completely disappear when the season starts. I'm not really worried as much about the overall individual efforts. Yes, we want to see what our secondary looks like, what Anthony Richardson looks like. But the secondary, you'll get a better look at, in my opinion. I don't even think you're going to get a really good look at the secondary even during preseason, because you're not going to be seeing ones-on-ones a lot during preseason. And so they're not going to see a lot of action. You're going to see some one-on-ones during the joint practice, right? You got to remember who was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr. You get a chance to actually go see Marvin Harrison Jr. Granted, not in a Colts uniform, but you'll be able to go see him during one of those two practices. And we will get a good look at those guys, I feel like, on those joint practices, our secondary, because the Arizona Cardinals do have some targets that, Murray and them can throw to. So we'll be able to see those a little bit better. Some other things I want to keep an eye on. I'm hoping for no injuries. Obviously, that is a unattainable stretch. There's always going to be injuries during training camp. I'm just hoping that they're not like compacted the way they were last year, where like our secondary was decimated, right? Our tight end group was hurt pretty bad during last year as well, where we had 2 or 3 guys that were out most of the season. That's not something that you want to see. Hopefully we can stay healthy, and they get a lot of good reps in before preseason begins. Let me know what you think of this year's training camp schedule, and do you think it's fair that the Indianapolis Colts on weekends and during joint practices are charging $5 a ticket? Personally, I think that's more than fair. $5 ain't that much, right? It's what parking costs for a car, but they're trying to make a little bit of extra because look, the Colts have one of the most highly packed training camps in all of the NFL. 5,000-6,000 people show up every single practice day. It's unbelievable. Some days are a little lighter than others, like on weekdays. On weekends, you cannot find a seat, man. It is hard to find a place to sit down. Make sure you get your tickets early because they will sell out. I think that's going to do it for me. Like I said, if you're listening to this on an audio podcast, make sure you leave a review and share it with your favorite social media. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment, hit a like, subscribe. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And as usual, go Colts.
Do you believe?